Oh, come on.
And so that table is gone. But again, the remnants of the why? Look, some of them we spend less than 20 minutes on them. We can't do proper vetting with this short sky. Let's understand this. Otherwise, it will not happen. It will not happen. It will not happen. I come back here. Don't go now. Don't go out. Nobody. Why should you do that? You want to piss the shit? You have more than time. No. You need 3 hours. We are not
you are using subject members to do.
Yes. You think you are partisan clerk? You are doing
Honourable members, can there be some order?
clerk. If the clerk thinks that she's a party clerk, yes. The clerk to Parliament. There was a call for a meeting. Your chief whip called for a meeting for us to engage and agree.
You indicated that there was an agreement that Kwabena Mintakando was going to be vetted that night.
Yes.
So what changed?
So we had
what changed?
I don't know what has changed. I don't know what
that led to the opposition.
Yes.
Of Kwabena Mintakando.
I do not know.
And that's
so
why I come back to.
I was highly surprised. So I was even asking the minority leader that you previously spoke to me that Kwabena Mintakando can be taken, and that he personally reached out to you that he wants to be taken that evening, based on the fact that he had brought people from Joboso to Accra. So he pleaded that he wants to be vetted. You do not have a problem with it. So now what has changed? I can tell you his answer.
What did he say?
That he is under pressure.
Under pressure from
Under
what?
pressure from his party.
To do what?
Well,
to not allow Kwabena Mintakando to be vetted?
maybe probably the speed at which we are going, probably his party, that's what I can deduce, is not comfortable with it, because I wouldn't know why he will be under pressure.
Well, you know that a lot of the things you're saying he said to you, at the end of the day, is going to be your word against his.
Yes.
And are you ready to still stand?
I can even swear oath to repeat this statement.
You can swear an oath.
Yes, I can swear an
Alexander
oath.
Penyomakin said
Yes.
everything
that I
you
had
have
that
said
understanding,
to me
yes.
in this
I
interview.
had that understanding with him regarding Akando. And many occasions he would say, my brother, I am under pressure.
And the insult you say he rained on Jerry Ahmed.
Jerry Ahmed.
You can swear an oath.
Yeah, I can swear an oath. I can swear an oath.
The chairman is doing very well. He is ensuring that the minority can engage in their drama as much as they want, but ultimately that we have the approvals that we need, and we help the president to keep to his timelines, and for our party to look good, ultimately. As for the number of questions, I say that it has been the practice, to tell you the truth, that the leadership are not restricted in how much time they spend on asking nominees questions. That has been the practice. You can go and check when NDC was in the minority, and you know whether there were specific rules that restricted the minority leader in terms of the amount of time that he will spend on asking questions. And I always tell people that, you know, a particular minority leader and his style may be unacceptable to you, but the rule should remain sacrosanct, because you don't know when you will also be a minority leader.
Right.
So if you change the rules today because you don't like a particular minority leader, how about if you become a minority leader tomorrow? So yes, and then also I think that I have advised Afeni, I said, look, I think that your style may not actually be helping you yourself. Yes, because you see, as a leader, you strive to be liked by all sides. You see,
You don't think it's liked by both sides?
Like you said, NDC people are putting pressure, they are upset, and etc. I think somebody like Haruna Idrisu, who was our minority leader, was equally liked by a lot of MPP people. Okay? I think Forson, who was our leader, was equally admired and liked by, members of the MPP. Because people can tell when you are doing a good job from when you are just trying to frustrate a nominee without really having anything of substance against the nominee. When you are seen just pushing the nominee, hoping that the nominee will slip, okay, from when you actually have some evidence of wrongdoing by the nominee, and you are simply probing in such a way that you pin the nominee to the evidence that you have. And coming from a lawyer, it should be possible for you to do it in such a way that across board, everybody is happy with what you are doing. Because, like you said, people want us to really probe the nominees, check their level, their intellect, check their competencies, check their understanding of the issues that they are going to be dealing with. And so if you're questioning and you're probing, no matter how long it takes, is achieving these ends, the public will be happy. But I hardly see that in what the minority side is doing. And so I don't think that many people are that happy with the work that they have done. And that is what is fueling the pressure on the chairman. Why even tolerating that kind of thing?
Exactly. Why allowing him speak too much? Why you allowing
him so much space? But I will say, have as much space as you need as a leader. I get the point. But then, as a leader, you have to understand that if you abuse the space, it affects your credibility as a leader as well. If you make good use of the space, it elevates your image as a leader as well. So it's a question of how you use the space.
And stood up. What did you intend to do?
To defend the clerk, really, it was difficult to watch what was happening, and I felt helpless. I saw that she's a very calm woman. I asked her, can you hear my side asking you to swear in Honorable Akando? And she calmly, with poise and finesse, said, the clerk to Parliament is in the room. I take instructions from him, not from you. And I thought, but, sorry. It was really hard to watch. I'm sorry.
Just a follow-up. So your action was not to participate. What was going on?
Mr. Chairman, I'm a member of Parliament and lucky to be, or blessed to be, the Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts. I am standing on the shoulders of all women who have fought, including the amazing Haji Ladi who is sitting at this table, to dare to be who I am today. And it was hard for me to watch another woman who had also worked hard and was here in her capacity as a representative of Parliament, being virtually lynched by a man who should know better. I impulsively just stood up to ask him, what are you going to do? Because he kept saying, I will deal with you. And because she couldn't speak, I impulsively thought that I had become Yan Santua for a moment. And I got up to ask him what he was going to do to her. Because it was the right thing to do at that moment. I'm not sure if I I'll allow myself to shout across a room like that again. But on that day, it was the best I could do. Thank you.
So finally, who was that person who was shouting?
It was the it was the minority leader, Honorable Kwamena Afanyumaking, who was shouting across the room.
That would be fine for all.
Thank you very much. So I listened to the apology, and here it was repeated by the minority leader for and on behalf of the members of the caucus, and supported by the majority leader. It's not only words. Before me, they demonstrated and assured me of their total support to me and the deputy speakers to ensure that we have an efficient and an effective functioning parliament in Ghana. So I am satisfied with not just the statement but also their conduct. And I will proceed to lift the suspension.
Questions and so many activities that need to be undertaken. There is a need for education, especially in the various communities. And those who would have to undertake this education are the health personalities or persons. How will they get there? They need a lot of support. And just as my colleague, Honorable Gisela, has just mentioned, sometimes it's not their fault that they don't go to the communities. Means of transport is number one. Sometimes, and when there is means of transport, lack of fuel. We need to give them that support. We need to also look at the budget of the Ministry of Health so that at least the contingency should be in such a way that they will be able to come out and support the health sector to handle issues that come up without any questioning.
Let there be some order.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Nominee, congratulations, and I wish you well. Take care of yourself. Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much. I proceed to recognize Honorable Jerry Shaib.
What is the difference between the ordinary thief and a political thief? Number one, the ordinary thief steals your money, your bag, your watch, and your jewelry, isn't it? But the political thief steals your future, your career, your education, your health, and your business. Number two, the hilarious part is that the ordinary thief will choose whom to rob. But you are the one who choose the political thief to rob you. Because we choose them. We vote them. We blindly say we are not blind. Who is deceiving who? The ridiculous part of the whole issue is that we will fight to defend and protect our belongings from the ordinary thief. Is it not? But we fight each other to defend and protect the political thief. Is that not what we do? Thugs will be fighting themselves to protect those that are stealing our career, stealing our joy, stealing our health, stealing our success. What a shame.
Government is broke, government is broke. The people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are two types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now. Government is broke, government is broke. But people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are two types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now.
All right, good morning. Let me welcome you to the Wednesday edition of Good Morning Ghana here on Metro Television. My name is Audu Moro. So Good Morning Ghana here, we have very dispassionate and very, what we call thought-provoking and insightful conversations about what happens in our country, Ghana. I'll go straight to the point and look at the front page stories in our newspapers. I'll start with the Daily Graphic. So Daily Graphic this morning is reporting that President directs Finance Minister to fill $156 million US aid funding gap. The 15th Book Council of States seat violence mars Ashanti region election. Government revokes post-December 7 appointment and recruitment. Now demands action on SHS in discipline. The Ghanaian Times. President inaugurates task force to realize 120-day promise. Ghana's corruption perception index drops from 43 to 42 in 2024. Regions elect reps to Council of State as some centers record chaotic scenes. Daily Guide. Minority jobs NDC's criminal cases clearance. Kaswa soldier killer denied bail. Ashanti Council of State election macho men scatter ballot papers. Let's stop this. Let's stop this. Journalists attacked. Brit caged for trafficking 142.9 kg that's cocaine. The New Crusading Guide. Gas to drive 24-hour economy. Ghana Gas acting CEO. Gabriel Tanko Kwamega wins Volta Region Council of State rep elections. Anarchy at Ashanti Council of State election. Kumasi MPs condemn unwarranted attack. Visit fire-ravaged Swami magazine. Kwewu Chieftaincy Blues. Dasibre Ekwamwa Ejapon II is still our chief. Jasi Hine. Prove where, when I was interdicted. Ex-police officer Douglas Addy dares accuser. Sues 20 million Ghana cedis. Consider Herbert Kia Dixon for Nzema East MCE. Concerned citizens appeal to Mahama. Armed soldiers raid Ken Oforiate's house. The Inside newspaper. Extent of loot under Akufo-Addo shocking. Oral team speaks on $20 billion US corruption recoveries. Job creation and employment opportunities for youth, vulnerable groups. My focus, Dr. Rachel Pelpuo. The people of Benin intensify anti-French protest in the wake of terror attack. JB Danquest Edu's wife cries for justice. ICC condemns sanctions by Trump administration and pledges to continue its work. The Herald newspaper. Sedu Agongo breaks silence on Heritage Bank collapse. Cocobot trial suspects ex-Bank of Ghana governor was forced to nail him. Special prosecutor behind embarrassing raid on Ken Ofori-Attah's residence despite notice of medical trip to U.S. Questionable dealings under new minerals fund managers raise concerns. 1.5 billion cedis moved around banks. $10 million dished out to another strange company. Afenyo Markin cries over 412 cholera cases in Efutu. Parliament summons health minister. The Informer. Oral report. Recover loot with interest. Demolovo proposes. Awin chiefs on warpath unleash local gods on MP over Galamsey. Corruption perception index. Ghana drops again. Forged last will and testament of the late Alhaji Salia Abdullahi. AG takes over case. Ghana leads Africa with Bamia's Momo initiative. Healthcare providers alarmed over surge in mental cases. The Daily Statesman. Mahama sacks Ghanaian workers for no wrongdoing. 24-hour passport processing proposal described as red herring. Prinkbag pledges collaboration with government. Violence mars Council of State elections. The Ghanaian Publisher. ICOMS makes trade facilitations seamless. GRA. Uniformed men invade Ken's house as persecution of Akufo-Addo's men begin. BCM accuses businesswoman of property seizure. Health Minister to brief MPs on cholera outbreak. Mahama terminates appointment after December 7. The Accra Times. Zanato bemoans cybercrime in Ghana. La MP calls for more girls in STEM. African speakers taken to task to address transnational challenges. Grabbing of state property. Looters will be punished, Mahama vows after receiving oral report. Illegal lottery operations. Ewuku calls for stricter measures. Proposes amendment to NLA Act 2006, Act 722. Daughter of a murderer. Who said it? Chief supporters want to know. The Custodian. Akufo-Addo, Bamia pay tribute to Samu Nujoma. Minority flays Mahama over scandalous withdrawals of criminal cases. Confirmed oral committee based $21 billion loot on rumors. Government to license Okada riders. Northern Jura citizens push for Herbert Dixon as Nzema East MCE. Daily Post. Mahama's 120-day task force. We won't fail. Valerie Sawyer assures. All public service appointments made after December 7, 2024 revoked. Chief of Staff. Kwesi Afre Baini appointed SNIT Director General. Mahama directs Finance Minister to address $156 million US aid funding gap. And the Business and Financial Times. Government moves to mitigate impact of $156 million USA aid suspension. Wankra Inland Port Project progresses, phase 182% complete. Secondary bond market to see rebound as tertiary bolds firm on yields following strong demand for short-term bills. So these are the big stories on the front page of the newspapers. When we come back, I'll be introducing my guest on Good Morning Ghana. Please stay with us.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
You're the answer to my prayers. You're with me everywhere. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need tonight. Give me shelter from the rain. You breathe life in me again. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need to know tonight.
Welcome to the Alisa brunch, your special Sunday treat. Good food, great and relaxing ambience, and excellent service. Come to your second home every Sunday, the Alisa Sunday brunch.
Look around. Home also need a makeover. Mine clearly does. So we went to Ashroom and found the Como collection. It had everything we're looking for and more. Merchant furniture for the entire home, designed with you in mind.
Where's Como collection? Dressing up is just the breeze. Always ready with a perfect accessory.
A magic dressing mirror. One look and you're ready to face the world. Or at least the kids.
A bed perfect for young men who want
a table that turns into a treasure chest.
And finally, a sofa with this grand TV unit for family time at home.
Head over to any Ashphone store now and discover the new Como collection. Ashphone, feel it, know it.
So what about what your papa this is my secret. Give us pea capsules. Emma, I want to come from now on to me to my ding one pen. Give us pea capsules. Over do as a mama. Oh no, enemy lawyer.
And to lawyer no na show bottom. Are you pro? Are you pro? Again, I found upon machine baba chiamwa as a niji. No. You didn't know what can we? The friend give us cold capsules. Say yes, is yare na wo so cocoa the do ni pedem when na wo posa amamai enti ma wunja wunan yi. Unum give us cold capsules. Obey free.
Lawyer,
give us cold capsules.
And I give us pea capsules.
Hey, and I give us free.
Obey Chinasuma.
And men what if you do what you do cronkwan efa. Give us core capsules. A pain for a batter one more menu for one and quadawin if you do me nunca.
All right, welcome back. This is Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. And my name is Aldo Moro. And My guests have joined us for what promises to be a very interesting conversation this morning on the show. And, Wednesdays, there's, well, more or less, we have a regular panel. And this morning is not going to be any different. Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr. is the managing editor of the Insight newspaper. Good morning, Uncle Kwesi. It's always good to have you join us on Wednesdays. Thank you so very much for joining us. Good morning, sir. Good morning, Uncle Kwesi.
Good morning, sir.
All right, yes, that's fine. Uncle Kwesi is reading some stories in newspapers. He loves reading newspapers. Anyway, also joining us this morning is Collins Adumako-Mensah, who is the Member of Parliament for Efija Kwabre North. Good morning, my brother. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. I'm fine.
Everything going nice?
Oh, by grace.
Yeah.
By grace. Everything's fine.
How's your party doing in opposition? It's been since 7th January when the president, a new president, was sworn in.
Settling in.
You're settling in. There've been all kinds of commentary, actually. There've been all kinds of commentary, and I'm sure you'd say that it is very normal when party loses power. Everybody would try to pontificate and express their opinions as to what led to the defeat of the party. But we do know there's a Professor Michael Quay committee, right, which is looking into the factors that led to your loss. But why Professor Michael Quay, though? People have asked. Some people feel it's too old.
That would be a difficult question for me to answer. That's a decision of the National Council.
Yeah, but you don't have an opinion on it?
Oh, well, he's experienced. He's been a Speaker of Parliament before. He's been a member of Parliament before. He's been with the party for a very long time. He served on the council. So, very experienced. I'm sure there are other young ones with him as members of the committee. I'm told they'll be visiting my constituency today.
Okay.
To interact with stakeholders within the constituency, just to also get their views. This is not an inquisitorial committee. It's just for them to gather information so that we can fine-tune where we went wrong and then prepare ourselves for the next election. So far, I think they've visited quite a number of the constituencies. Some of the interactions have been not too pleasant. You can imagine.
Yeah.
People are frustrated, others are
Tempers are high.
Tempers are high, which is expected at this time. Very fresh in people's mind. But these things are good. People must express their views on issues and, be comfortable to say.
But aren't those who are expressing their views know that there are processes that have been initiated to get to the bottom of why the party lost power? I mean, is it possible for the party, for instance,
it's difficult to
issue
control.
A statement to say, look,
it's difficult
to
control everybody,
and
especially now with social media,
and
all that. I mean, guess his phone and then he just. But it would have been appropriate if the whole processes. You channel all your grievances through the laydown process that has been stipulated by the party. In fact, the party has created that kind of platform.
Right.
They have even given us an email. Those who want to put their issues on paper can easily ferry that through the email to the appropriate committee.
Okay.
But it's also good to have that face-to-face interaction, which is what the Michael Quay committee is doing. As I said, they are coming to my constituency today.
Okay.
And give opportunity to past members of parliament, past executives, polling station executives, coordinators, central executives, just to express their views as to what they felt went wrong, constituency specific. And then we put all of that together, and then we chart a new path.
Okay.
I think that's the way to go.
All right, so let's get down now to business.
But
that matter is not a closed matter.
Okay.
I mean, look, members of the party have a right to express no confidence in the committee which has been set up. And if they don't have confidence in the committee which has been set up, there's nothing that prevents them from expressing their views. I mean, if the party believes in free expression, people should be allowed to express their views freely. I've seen statements by many MPP members who say that they have no confidence whatsoever in the Michael Quay committee. You understand? Are they not entitled to speak? Why should they shut up? Because the Makukwe committee that they don't have confidence in has not come up with its report. So they're entitled to speak. You understand? And many of the comments that are coming from leading members of the party and supporters of the party and so on are not that negative. They're saying what we have all known and what the party knew before it went into the elections. You understand? And all of them are saying that what they want is the rebuilding of the party into a vibrant force, you know. So I think we should take all the comments in our stride.
Yeah.
I think we should take all the comments in our stride.
Okay.
All right. See, the interactions, especially the face-to-face interactions, quite open.
Yeah.
I mean, when they normally come to the constituency, they ask the executives to give them a briefing of what, in their view. And what they do is that they don't just leave it to the executives. They bring even past executives, and then they move it down to the polling station executives to also express what they think has been done at the polling station level that was not done. And I think, as Ankwesi said, everybody should be given an opportunity to say something. I mean, whatever you feel went wrong that you feel should be corrected, you should be given the opportunity to express yourself. I only feel that it should be coordinated enough so that we don't have it's not counterproductive.
Right.
You know, it's so that it should be coordinated. And that is why the directive from the party has even given email addresses and all the telephone numbers.
Yeah.
Those who personally want to call to say whatever they want to say, an opportunity has been given.
Right.
Like Boache Jakun, he had put his issues on paper and has sent it to the committee. That's fine.
Right.
So that they gather all that information, and then it will be interesting to know. You might find similar issues in different constituencies, you know, so that you can bring all of that together. And then,
Yeah, but I'm saying that you don't need to be given an opportunity, to speak your mind.
Yes. Everybody is entitled to speak.
And the platform you use to speak your mind and so on is a matter of choice.
Yes.
So it's not like they should take advantage of the opportunity which have been given. What opportunity?
Yes, but Uncle, I've been wondering, and it's a matter which I've been thinking about. Or there's something you want to say? So you can land. Look, both political parties have a research desk. As a political party, they have a research desk. And when the parties are in government, they also have even a research desk at the presidency. You have BNI, you have national security. Well, it's now NIB. Why don't these political parties conduct these exercises, embark on these exercises ex ante? Why does it have to be post facto? So you would wait, elections are held, you lose elections, and then you say, let's go and find out why I lost elections. Is it difficult to find out where you stand in the minds of Ghanaians once you're in government? Is it difficult to do?
Well, I'm implacably opposed to the use of state institutions for political, party purposes and so on. The BNI should never be used by any party, whether in government or opposition, to assess its strength. That's not the responsibility of the BNI.
Technically speaking, I agree.
It is not. Under no circumstance should the BNI, or now I hear it's NIB, be misused for those purposes. You understand? Then again, I think it's important to understand that research, you can have two research institutions or two persons carrying out research with completely different outcomes. So research itself is not a neutral area. It comes with people's biases and so on.
Right.
Now, if they are members of the party who have no confidence in the current executives or the structures of the party, how can they rely on the structures of the party in which they have no confidence? You understand? So I'm happy with what is happening. Yeah. Let the party formally conduct its investigations, its research, and so on. Let other individuals who claim that they have no confidence in the party structures also express themselves. At the end of the day, these will be reflected in concrete actions. The party has to go to Congress. A new leadership has to be elected, and so on.
Lead to amendments in our
Party's constitution.
Yes, and all that. Yeah.
Right.
So those who reflect the true feelings of the party. As a fact, there are many people in the party who are very angry, who feel marginalized, and rightly so.
Yeah.
You know, who felt that if their views had been taken into account, this huge disaster could have been averted.
Collins, what do you think? Take the research more seriously whilst in government, and not wait till the disaster happens and then you're all over the place trying to find out what happened.
Well, I've also always had problems when government in power force a state institution like the BNI or
the
NIB.
NIB.
But I know the NIB on their own, whenever any political party is going for election, they do some of these things on their own just to gauge the sentiment of the country. But I understand where Ankwesi is coming from, where you engage them because you are in power. Then you engage a state institution to conduct a certain report for you in order for you to know what is going to transpire in an election going forward. But what is happening now is important, and I like the processes we are undertaking as a party. Apart from the formal settings, others have also been given the opportunity to come directly to the party.
Yeah.
Through emails, through phone calls. You can even go to the headquarters to make a formal complaint or a formal observation that you yourself had observed during the elections.
But do people do that?
Yeah, people do that. As I'm saying, Mr. Boache Jakun has written personally to the party, and I've seen some of it. And other people have sent emails through the official email that has been created. You know, you don't, probably the meeting that is coming to my constituency, you may not be part of the group that is meeting, but you may also be an interested party. You have the right to communicate that through the other means that have been created by the party. And I think it's a good thing.
But you see, in the last election, it is very clear that the NIB was abused by all kinds of institutions. I mean, I read reports in the media suggesting that the NIB had predicted, victory, massive victory for Dr. Bawumia. And whether it's true or not, the NIB has been abused by media, which quoted the NIB, knowing that the NIB could not defend itself. That's an abuse. Now, if the NIB also conducted such a survey, it's clearly an abuse. You understand? Now, currently, it is very, very clear that there are many, many people in the party who feel disgruntled about the fact or allegation of their being sidelined in the Akufo-Addo regime.
That's a fact.
Some actually complained that they were actually hounded out of party offices. I mean, people like Sami Krab, Nyaho Tamakro, many of them, Paula Foko, and so on, Even the likes of Kodun Pili were not very comfortable in the last era, and they felt marginalized and so on. And these are heavyweights of the party. Some of them actually founding members of the party. I think they should be allowed to vent. Yeah. They should be allowed to vent.
Okay. All right. So, Ankwesi and Collins, there have been some developments, and I think it's something that happened must have been yesterday, where we saw a statement from the Chief of Staff that has been captured in today's Daily Post newspaper. It says all public service appointment made after December 7, 2024 revoked. Chief of Staff. Now, the Chief of Staff, Julius Deborah, has nullified all appointment and recruitment into the public service made after December 7, 2024. A confidential letter obtained by City News has been circulated to heads of government institutions instructing them to enforce the directive. The decision is expected to impact individuals who secured public sector positions following the 2024 general elections. Although no official reason has been provided for the revocation, sources indicate that the move is part of the government's effort to uphold fairness and transparency during the public sector transition process. Now, this is the full letter, and I'm sure that at some point Annie will put it up, hopefully. But it says, consistent with government pronouncement in relation to near end of tenure appointment and recruitment I wish to bring to your attention that all appointments and recruitments made in the public services of Ghana after 7th December 2024 are not in compliance with established good governance practices and principles. Accordingly, all heads of government institutions are hereby requested to take the necessary steps to annul any such appointments or recruitment and submit a comprehensive report on the actions taken to this office by the 17th of February 2025. Your cooperation in the matter is highly appreciated. Now, this is the story. Now, closely related to this is an action which is being taken by Vincent Asifwa. Uncle Kwesi and Collins, your very good friend, Vincent Asifwa, and yes, he's the MP for Old Tafo. Now, he has decided to go to court over this matter, and he issued a statement early this morning. Office of Member of Parliament, Honorable Vincent Asifwa, MP, Old Tafo constituency. We are going to court, say no to unjust dismissals. As has already failing Mahama government promised to implement a certain 24-hour economy plan, claiming it was designed to create jobs and expand economic opportunities. However, instead of focusing on delivering the real change he promised to the young people of Ghana, the government seems more interested in political appointment drama and endless committee formations than in actual governance. It is deeply unfortunate and unacceptable that young people duly recruited by a properly constituted Ghanaian government are now being dismissed without just cause. This is nothing but political victimization, and I refuse to stand by and watch it happen. As a young MP, I have decided to fight for the affected youth. We're taking this battle to court to ensure that this already failing government does not have unchecked power to unjustly terminate hardworking young employees. If this government is serious about job creation, it should be expanding opportunities, not displacing workers. Sacking people and replacing them does nothing to reduce unemployment. It only deepens economic hardship. Moreover, ours is a constitutional government. We're governed by laws and not some unknown unconstitutional principles. The powers of government are limited by the constitution that creates those powers. Our 1992 constitution abhors the arbitrary exercise of power in a capricious fashion. The constitution further frowns upon the removal, dismissal, or termination of the employment of persons belonging to the public services without a just cause. Even in private spheres, we're guided by the principles of fair hearing. We cannot sit and allow the government to abuse us in a manner that does not accord with due process of law. An approach which is dehumanizing and a violation of our entrenched rights is not only human, but more importantly, Ghanaians. Sorry, as not only humans, but more importantly, Ghanaians. A future NPP government will reinstate all the affected persons. If you are a victim of this politically motivated dismissal, I urge you to reach out immediately. We'll fight this injustice together. Signed, Eko Vincent Asifwa, MP. And he puts his contact and his email address. Okwesi, what do you make of this?
Well, first, if a matter is before a court, as they say, of competent jurisdiction, we cannot comment on that.
He hasn't actually effected our processes yet. He's now expressing his intention to go to court.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he says he wants to go to court.
Okay, but even then,
okay,
the law is clear.
Right.
Where there's a likelihood that a matter will go before a court of competent jurisdiction, one has to be careful with the comments because it can still be prejudicial.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I'm going to be very measured.
Okay.
The MP's own statement, he makes a promise, which is that a future NPP government will reinstate all the affected persons. There's certain lack of confidence in the course of action he intends to take. As if he were sure that rights have been violated, constitution has been violated, and so on, then he ought to have some confidence that the court will reverse these dismissals. That claim that a future NPP government will reinstate the affected persons does not show much confidence in the action that he intends to take. That's the first point. Now he talks about appointment or engagement by, a legitimate government and so on. When I read the Chief of Staff's letter, it does appear that the Chief of Staff is talking about appointments which came into effect after January 7th, when the New Patriotic Party was no longer in power.
Actually, after December 7, actually not January, after December 7. Remember that Felix Ofosu-Kwakye, as a member of the Joint Transition Team, actually had cause to bring this matter up in the public and said, look, they were aware that the NPP at the time, which has lost elections, were packing the public and civil service with quote-unquote party cronies and had expressed concerns about it and said that if they continued, they would discontinue it, yes.
If after a government has been voted out, it packs the public and civil service, that's a problem. You can no longer be talking about a legitimate government. Where is the legitimacy derived from?
Why not, Uncle C?
When you have been voted out of power.
Yeah, but the legitimacy ends 7th January 2025.
You're talking about legitimacy. Watch the word.
Right.
Legitimacy is the operative word.
Right.
When you have been voted out of power, you no longer have the legitimacy.
What legitimacy, Uncle C? Political, constitutional?
All of it.
How?
There is a difference between legality and legitimacy, and I hope that you are conscious of that. I'm saying that when you have been voted out of power, you no longer have the legitimacy. You have been rejected. You understand? It's clear. Now, the 1 month wait is only for administrative purposes, to effect the will of the people and so on. So that must be very clear. Now, again, I think that there's a lot of precedent. And all of us would remember the comments which were made by J.H. Mensah, the Venerable J.H. Mensah, about such appointments, and how he felt very strongly that they were not only illegitimate, but also illegal. And his promise to reverse them when the NPP took over power. So clearly, there's a precedent. Now, you're not talking about 1 or 2 appointments. You're talking about multitudes of appointments.
Thousands of them.
Exactly. So it would thus suggest that there was a deliberate effort to pack these state institutions. And I would find that extremely wrong. I have a problem about appointments into the public sector. I have a huge problem. I'm watching the scene now, and I've watched the scene before. A certain impression is being created that the only way of getting employment in the public service, and even sometimes in the civil service, is to become a party loyalist. And I think that that's an affront to merit, to the promotion of merit in our public institutions. I mean, it got so bad that at some point, even a public relations officer of a state institution was appointed by the president. I think we should frown on this. We should begin, at least in some critical areas, to insist on merit. Because right now, all that is required is a party card. It's not a problem that the NDC created. It's a problem which has existed, which appears to be continued by the NDC. And I'm very frightened about that situation. A situation where the only qualification for public service appointment and so on is a party card. It's frightening. We are weakening state institutions, we are undermining state institutions, and to a very large extent, we are even affronting the Constitution. You understand? So I'm worried about that as a matter of principle. At the same time, I'm worried about a situation where any political party, any government, would deliberately pack the public services. That should not be accepted. I mean, if it's a case of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, even 20 persons being appointed, one may overlook it for various reasons. But when, as you said,
thousands of them,
thousands of people are being packed into these state institutions, it sounds like, looks like, and appears to be a deliberate packing of state institutions with party loyalists. And I think we should frown on that.
Collins, where do you stand on this? I mean, at the dying embers of the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo administration, you decide to pack a public and civil service with thousands of persons who were told by the Minister of State in charge of government communication that
my brother,
your party loyalist.
I also have a fear, and the letter from my colleague, Member of Parliament,
Felix,
even confirms my fears.
Oh, you mean Vincent Assefuah?
Yes.
Okay.
If we are not careful, this cycle is going to continue, just as Uncle Kwesi said.
How do you mean?
Did you read the statement?
Yes, I
said
read.
A future MPP government
yes.
will reinstate all these affected people. That should tell you the mindset, and not just him, of our political landscape. That once my government comes, everybody who was appointed by the previous must leave for my people to come. That is where Uncle Kwesi is talking about. That is the danger. Now, he makes a very interesting argument about legitimacy. True. Every government is voted into power for 4 years. The 4 years expires on midnight on the 6th of January.
Yes.
Now, I have in my hand Mr. Domlevo's appointment.
Yes.
Somebody just sent it to me this morning.
Okay.
It is dated 19th December 2016. At the time, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama had lost power. The argument about legitimacy, whether this particular appointment was legitimate, based on Uncle Kwesi's argument, because at the time, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama had lost power.
So you're putting that principle to test.
And that's the point I'm making.
Okay.
Interestingly, do you know who signed this letter? Mr. Julius Debra.
Okay.
Absolutely. This appointment was signed by Mr. Julius Debra on the 19th of December 2016, when Mr. John Mahama has lost election.
But here's the thing.
I'm coming.
Okay.
I'm talking about legitimacy.
No, I get it. No, I was going to ask a follow-up question.
I'm coming.
Yes.
I'm talking about the legitimacy.
Yes.
Mr. Julius Debra, the one who is revoking appointments that were made after 7th of December on the basis of the fact that you had lost election. For the same person writing letters, appointing people just after his party had lost election.
But
I'm just addressing Uncle Kwesi's.
No, but Uncle Kwesi doesn't speak for President.
Oh, I've not said so. I
get it. No, because of the argument
I've not said so. I'm just.
No, he's entitled to make
yes,
those
I've not said so.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm just saying that
you can challenge the logic and so on.
The legitimacy aspect of it. That's what I'm talking about.
That's the question I'm asking.
And that is where my fear is when my brother Eko says that the next government will bring in all the people who have been sacked. What it means is that if this government appoints people now, and even after 7th of December 2028, they also appoint people, by the logic of my brother, you should be rest assured that the next government will do same, and that is where the problem is. That is where the problem is.
Can I come in?
I'm coming.
Okay.
If the appointment had gone through a certain process, you know, in public service, sometimes you can apply in October.
Yes.
Go through a certain process in November.
Yes.
Get appointed in December. If you're not careful and you do this blanket statement and say everybody who was appointed after 7th should go off, we have a problem. Then you are not careful, you set a precedent which will push my brother Eko Vincent to say that, then get ready. The next MPP government will do same. Uncle Kwesi, my thinking is that these things, the way it is slippery, let's put it in law. 6 months into an election, there are certain things government should not do. Put it in law. If you don't put it in law, people will abuse it. Just when I was in the ministry, 6 months into the election, everybody was supposed to give a handover note to the chief of staff. In fact, we were not supposed to sign any major contracts. We were told. The chief director called me in my office to explain to me the processes and that this is what I'm supposed to do 6 months into an election. Let's have this kind of concrete orders in our laws.
Yeah, so we can expand the transition.
That's the point I'm making. So put it in there and say that once 6 months into a general election, major recruitment, just as you are saying, 100 people, 200,000 people, this kind of thing should stop.
Yeah.
Proud to, because what you do is that all the people you have employed after 7th, they have to be paid. It's going to feed into the fiscal space of the next government.
True.
Absolutely. So in order not to put pressure on the next government and to allow them some space to plan, let's put it in law that, hey, 6 months into an election, 3 months into a general election, don't make any major procurement or employment. You know, you can, yes, of course, you can fill in 1 or 2 spaces. Of course, you cannot say that you're not going to employ nurses, you're not going to employ police or soldiers within this time. But some major ones that you think can hold on so that the next government can have some breathing space in order to plan their fiscal regime, it can be done. Okay. If you don't put in the law, this statement from Eco Vincent will continue.
Okay.
Massa,
that thinking will continue. That's my fear.
I'm inclined to agree with the basic principles you espouse.
Yes.
I'm inclined to agree with them. I want, however, to point out a certain problem which all of this is creating or has created already.
Yeah.
And that is the undue politicization of all state institutions. So it doesn't matter whether a state institution is dealing with petroleum or is dealing with security matters and so on. These processes, politicize them. Partisan politicization of state institutions cannot be good in a multi-party dispensation. You understand? And if you have a one-party state, that's a different matter. But in a multi-party situation, deliberate partisan politicization of state institutions undermines the very ethos of multi-party democracy. And I think that we should be very careful.
Right.
You know.
Now, for me, obviously, Ian Collins, having listened to the Minister of State in charge of government communications, where he talks about the fact that one of the reasons why, in fact, the main reason why these appointments are being revoked is because he gives 4 key reasons. He talks about the fact that, 1, what they have found out is that these appointees did not even apply for the job. That's number 1. 2, they were not interviewed. Okay. 3, they didn't even present their medical reports. And then number 4, there were instances where people's appointments were actually even backdated, because you're comparing when the person was paid as against when the person's appointment letter was even issued. Okay, so it raises the issue about whether the critical steps that were supposed to have been taken were sidestepped or not. And so they are not being dismissed necessarily because the timing of the appointment was problematic, as I understand. But they are being dismissed because there were certain steps that ought to have been taken to regularize their employment. But those things did not happen. And that's why they are being made to go home. Now, I don't even know whether these employees will actually even receive their January or February salary. I can't even tell. Because if what Felix Ofosu-Kwakye is telling us is anything to go by, which is you got the appointment irregularly. And so, as far as we're concerned, we do not deem you as somebody who has been legitimately and legally employed. So I just thought I should share this information with you to sort of. Yes. No, I'm not talking about the statement from the chief of staff. I'm talking about what Felix has said.
Master, there's a presumption of impropriety.
Yes.
But in concrete practice, it has to be put to test. Because it is not in all cases that people have to write letters.
Absolutely,
asking for,
Thank you,
it's not in all cases.
Applying for a job.
Applying for a job. It's not in all cases that people have to be interviewed. And I mean it. You understand? So there's a certain presumption of impropriety, which is okay. There's no problem. But then we need to test, to take each case and find out why those circumstances we mentioned applied. Okay. Right now, this government is employing people.
Yes.
Are you going to tell me that everybody whose employment has been announced has written a letter, application for employment?
That's a very valid question.
Has
very,
been
very valid
interviewed
question.
and so on.
Yeah.
So you can presume that there is some impropriety. There's no doubt about it. I have no problem with that presumption.
You just read my mind.
But we have to test every case, on case-to-case basis.
Fantastic, Angus.
Our concern should be the prevention of a deliberate politicization of every state institution. That should be our worry, you understand? And I think it's important that the current government and the previous government and future governments ought to take note of the fact that the ethos of multi-party democracy are seriously damaged, when we engage in these practices of packing state institutions with party loyalists.
I just received a letter, Ghana Water.
Okay.
As part of the directive from the Chief of Staff. This is dated 11th February.
Yeah.
Which is yesterday. Distribution, head office, chief managers, regional chief managers, and then unit heads.
Yeah.
Directive to suspend all new recruits appointed in November 2024.
November 2024.
You see, the confusion that has started. The Chief of Staff's letter was very clear that appointment after December 7th. This is a directive from the Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Adamuta Wakili, instructing his people that for them, they are backdating it to November 2024.
We haven't spoken to him.
No, I'm saying that this is the letter I got.
No, I'm not doubting that you have such a letter.
So,
but listen, I'm not doubting that you have such a letter. Okay. And the dates are clear and so on. What I'm saying is that you need to find out why. If, say, in November,
yes,
in an institution where there were no vacancies as at November,
yes,
you get a directive to employ 200 people, it raises cause for concern.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing to do with this December 7th reference point that the Chief of Staff is using. So it's important to understand all of the happenings around this issue in their fullness before you can make a decision.
Yeah.
So the date is interesting, but it is not that material in this conversation.
I just thought I should draw the attention when I saw the November as against the December.
Yes.
Madam Kwesi just read my thoughts completely.
Okay.
Read my thoughts.
Yeah.
I mean, the directive from the Chief of Staff was absolutely clear. He said after 7th December. So Felix cannot be telling us that the timing of it is not important. He cannot. The directive was clear. He can't say that it was irregular, the appointment were irregular, and that is not necessarily because of the time that you were employed. No, the directive from the Chief of Staff
you feel
was absolutely clear.
You feel it's a red herring?
All appointments after 7th of December should be revoked. It's as simple as that. That was the directive from the Chief.
You mean there's a specific group of people who are being targeted?
Yes, but as I said, Ankwesi's point, the point you made, not everybody is recruited and you have to write an application letter. All appointments have been done in this current government. All the chief executives, nobody wrote any application letter and all of that. So some appointments are done based on the person's competences, and some are even poached.
Okay.
So you don't have to go through a certain process.
Yeah.
My fear, and as we've all retweeted, is that we should be careful not to create a certain, and this does not happen just in this government. Let me be fair.
Yeah.
Let's be fair. In my own government, there are instances where some people, I've heard people share their experiences and say that when my government took over, they were asked to leave their bungalows, it happens.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that if you're not careful,
you're saying that it shouldn't happen.
That's the point I'm making. If you're not careful, but Angozi, even in 2025, my colleague member of parliament is telling us.
Yeah.
So that's my fear, the mindset. My colleague member of parliament is saying that in the next MPP government, he's going to sack, he's going to return all those people who have been sacked. That should tell you that if you are not careful, you are going to get this cycle. That any time there's a 4-year or 8-year change, some actions will be taken. And that I'm saying that let's regulate it. We can put it in law and say that 6 months to election, if the appointment is not a major appointment or a necessary one, don't put pressure, fiscal pressure on the incoming government.
In fact, we've bastardized completely, you know, recruitments into the public services.
Yeah.
Before, there were strict rules, you know. Even if a president had to appoint you to a public institution, you needed to go through the Public Services Commission, where your qualification was you know, verified, and were put through rigorous tests, interviews, and so on, you know. I was going to cite my own example, but it's not.
So Marco Doboaf has sent us a message. You know, he's a regular viewer of the show, and he doesn't hesitate to contribute when he has an opinion on the matter. So he says that, good morning, Namoro, the issue of appointment after losing an election is a contentious one. There are situations where appointing someone after losing an election might be justified. For instance, if the individual has exceptional expertise or experience that makes them uniquely qualified for the role, it might be beneficial to appoint them despite electoral laws. Example, Mr. Domlevo. Okay. However, it is essential to ensure that such appointments are made in a transparent and merit-based manner to maintain public trust and confidence in the democratic process. Ultimately, the legitimacy of appointing people after losing elections depends on their specific context and the principles of democracy, accountability, and transparency. Okay, Mark.
Yeah,
thanks
just
for...
a little addition.
Yes.
I mean, if a position in an essential service becomes vacant in this period, after elections, what is the sitting government supposed to do? If it's an essential service,
you have to fill it.
You have to fill it.
Yes.
So I think that every case deserves to be looked at on its own merit.
That's why I would have wished if the directive from the chief of staff was not blankets.
Right. So I appreciated
it. Yes, I would have appreciated it if it was not blankets and said that yes, on a case-by-case basis, let's look at the relevance of the appointment. But to say every appointment after 7th should be revoked, that is a very serious, and that is why that's my fear.
But you see,
so we don't have issues with something recurring.
Yeah, but the relevance.
There is something about the chief of staff's action which I think also needs to be appreciated by all of us. That's a history. I have sat in a studio of a radio station where a member of parliament has actually boasted about the allocation he has had to send people into the police service, immigration service, and so on. So clearly, these appointments are not merit-based.
Right.
Or some of these appointments may not be merit-based. Yeah. Based on this history that you and I know.
Yeah.
You've had your own MPs boasting. I mean, when they're campaigning, they're telling their constituents that vote for me because I took 50 people to fire service and so on. So we know that as a fact. And I think it's important not to ignore this fact in evaluating the Chief of Staff's letter.
I see. But Honorable Ablago Mashi, who is the MP for K2 South and also the Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, she makes a very interesting point. She's watching the show. Good morning, Mom. Thanks for joining us. She says it is important when we're having this discussion to put something in proper context. And it is in reference to what Uncle Kisi said, where he said, look, let's be honest about things. How many of the appointments that are being given today were based on people actually applying for the job? Fair, valid. But she says a distinction must be made. She said, if it comes to political appointment, then your argument will hold in toto. Because typically, if you're appointing a state director, if you're appointing a minister, deputy, and so on, state, these are appointments you headhunt. You look for somebody and put the person there. But she says, if you take a critical look at the letter from the chief of staff, they're not talking about political appointments per se. These are individuals who are being recruited and are being dumped into the public service or the civil service. So those ones, you have to apply for the job.
Master, I I beg you. This whole concept of political appointment, where is it coming from? What is its legal basis? This whole concept of political appointment. I mean, how do you go and put somebody in charge of SNIT, who's about the future of the vast majority of Ghanaians?
Absolutely.
And say that it's a political appointment, so you don't have to worry about processes and so on. How do you do that?
What is the reality, Uncle Kwesi?
Is the reality correct? How does that reality benefit us as a country?
Yeah.
You understand? So this whole concept of political appointment,
a non-political appointment.
A non-political appointment.
It's neither here nor there.
No. I mean, to the extent that even specialized institutions, institutions dealing with gas, institutions dealing with petroleum, institutions dealing with health and so on, we say that we are making political appointments to them and we are happy. Where is this coming from?
Okay.
Where is this? Anyway.
No, but I get the point you're making.
Jifa is my very good
friend, so
I don't want.
You want to be modest and message.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Good morning, Jifa.
And I'm like, he says,
good morning.
luckily you are his friend, so no wahala for you this morning. Anyway, so we'll take a short break. When we come back, we will get into some other conversation, and it has to do with oral. Oral is now moved into phase 2. Phase 1 is over. We'll find out whether indeed it's just mere rumor, nothing is going to come out, or something will come out. You will check out the Insight publication and also some other publications on oral. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back. This is Good Morning Ghana.
Who are you? You. Charlie, I'll be you from the future. Who doesn't sleep on that slice of bready for mattress anymore? Don't some slippers then follow me.
It is part of the mattress we did the front there.
Yeah?
Happiness mattress where the dead for.
Wait, what are you doing? Wow! No damage at all. Not only durable, but also super comfortable. Come on, try it.
Nothing day like Ash Foam. Enjoy full body support and unparalleled comfort for a restful sleep.
Don't forget your keys.
Get the premium sleep experience with mattresses from Ash Foam. Visit any of our showrooms nationwide or at ashfoam.com.
Great music. Excellent service. Great company. And meats galore. The Alisa Friday Barbecue. It's fun on Fridays at Alisa.
This is Coastal Park, a well-demarcated gated community carved out to host your residential and commercial properties. With a minimum of 40,000 Ghana cedis, you too can own a piece of this serene site.
It's just 50 minutes drive from the Central University College, as well as just some 5 minutes drive from the Ningo Senior High School. More so, just in case you live somewhere in Adam and you want to take that excursion to many of those areas along the Volta estuary, this is the right property for you to invest in.
Great news from Estate Masters Limited. We're running a 10% discount promo on all sites to celebrate our 10th anniversary. Join in the celebration by becoming an Estate Master. Enjoy benefits such as free site visits throughout the duration, free indenture, and free site plan. Contact us for more information. Remember, T's and C's apply. Estate Masters Limited, your most preferred estate partner.
In an era where fire safety is paramount, Kabori Film Compound Technologies Limited stands out as a leader in the development of innovative fire dousing solutions. With a focus on aqueous film forming foam, the company provides a cutting-edge product that significantly enhances fire suppression capabilities across various sectors, including maritime, industrial and emergency response.
The oil and gas sector, along with chemical manufacturing facilities and fire services.
Kabori's advanced film technology offers a more efficient and environmentally responsible alternative.
Kabori is recognized for its superior extinguishing capabilities and prolonged resistance to reignition. Kabori's product is certified by the Ghana National Fire Service, the Ghana Standards Authority, the Environmental Protection Agency, and the Nigerian Standards Organization.
Kabori Film Compound Limited is situated in Nsawam within the eastern region of Ghana. For inquiries, reach out to them on 0245 885 288 or 0244 514 048. You may also contact them via email at info@kaborifilm.com. Kabori Film Compound Technologies Limited, providing film compound solutions to help institutions.
You're the answer to my prayer. You're with me everywhere. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need tonight. Give me shelter from the rain. You breathe life in me again. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need to know tonight.
USA, are you ready? It's the maiden edition of the Campus Red Party, brought to you by Ignite Media and the UPSA JCR. It's happening on Friday, Valentine's Day, 14 February 2025 at the UPSA Hostel C, 5 p.m. prompt. Artists passing through includes Slim Kid,
Clowns in the circus, clowns in the circus.
Mufti, Kenny Eyes, and many more. DJs on rotation on the night: Kelvin DJ, NK DJ, DJ Juicy, and our very own DJ Legend. So come along on Valentine's Day. Let's have a good time. We're partying until Mama calls. Campus Red Party is brought to you by Blue Jeans Vodka Mix. See you on Valentine's Day. Don't miss out.
All right, welcome back. This is Good Morning Ghana on the Metro Television. I do have here Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr., who is the managing editor of the Insight newspaper. I also have the Member of Parliament for the Ifija Kwabre North, That's Honorable Collins Adomako Mensah. He's also a former deputy minister. Before we get on with our next story, let me just say that I've got some fantastic news for you. It's the kind of news that I know, or the kind of information that you need at this time of the day. Blue Jeans Energy Drink has some great news for you. Now, Blue Jeans Energy Drink, you know, has been on the market for over 20 years, and we already know what it does for the body. It contains many vitamins and nutrients. We're talking about vitamin B2, B3, B6, and B12, as well as taurine and guarana, which are known to boost your strength and energy, as well as promote high performance and endurance. So Blue Jeans Energy Drink has been tested, it's been tried, and we know it, and we testify that it is indeed the best. So Blue Jeans Energy Drink is for bold and active men and women. Bold, active men and women. It's in shops nationwide, so for bulk purchases, please contact Budget Cash and Carry on 0208 128 190. 0208 128 190 or 055 001 000. So I got a message here from a viewer who says, Collins Adomako Mensah on Good Morning Ghana is sounding sanctimonious. Has he forgotten Akufo-Addo government sacked thousands of employees in 2016? Some of these were employed years and months before December 2016. This one here says, good morning, I hope you're doing well. I'm Honorable Simon Yao, our GNDC headquarters. The issue of dismissals was first introduced into our policies by the then Kufuor and Nana Addo. In fact, the first day Kufuor took over, we were sacked with copies of letters which had same content and was run on photocopying machines. You entered office, a gentleman will just run copies and hand them over to you. That's your termination and dismissal. So South Mafu said it categorically before appointment committee of parliament. I believe none of MPP Apachicks tried to throw dust into our eyes. We have done only 0.045% of what they did. So, all right, so Simon. Yeah, but you know, Simon, when you keep pushing these kinds of narratives, it doesn't help your own party. Remember, your party is into reset. So what it means is that the wrongs that were perpetrated in the past, you are not prepared to do same. And so you want to do better. In any case, it's not a race to the bottom. Do you understand what I'm saying? So these kinds of comparisons, I don't think helps us as a people. If we believe it was wrong in the past, why repeat it? Do you understand what I'm saying? If there are genuine and legitimate reasons why these persons are not supposed to be there, we can have that conversations. But to just say that, oh, some people were sacked yesterday, so let's sack people today, it doesn't mean we're not growing democratically. It means we're taking one step back, 2 steps forward. One step back, one step forward, 2 steps back. That's what I've been wanting to say. So let's be seen to be doing better. Martin Holmes says that, okay, he has sent me a video to also remind me of what the MPP did in the past. It comes back to the same thing I said. So please, let's move on. Anyway, so obviously, looters will be punished. Mahama vows after receiving oral report. That's in today's Accra Times. Now, the Insight has a very interesting story, and it says, extent of loot under Akufo-Addo shocking. Oral team speaks on $20 billion corruption recoveries. And then if you look at the custodian is saying that the former Deputy Attorney General, he is saying that, look, the oral thing is not going to go anywhere, and that is just based on some mere rumors. And that's Alfred Etua Yaboa. But I'll start with the Accra Times story. I'll take a bit of the 3 newspapers and then we'll look at it and put all of that in proper context. So Simon Avabe Agyanab says, in line with the commitment to recovering looted state funds and assets, President John Dramani Mahama established Operation Recover All Loot, Oral, to track down individuals involved in corrupt practices and unearned wealth. The Oral team presented its report to the President at the Presidency on Monday, February 10, 2025. Receiving the report, President Mahama sent a strong warning to those who engage in corruption, emphasizing that impunity will no longer be tolerated. For those who think they can defraud the state and escape justice, let this serve as a strong warning. Ghana is no longer a safe haven for corruption. The President reaffirmed his commitment, administration's commitment to integrity, accountability, and the rule of law. To those who stand for these values, I assure you that the government remains your steadfast partner in building a nation where honesty and hard work are rewarded. Commending the Oral Committee, President Mahama described its work as a significant milestone in Ghana's fight against corruption. He's urging the media, civil society organizations, and public officials to play their respective roles in ensuring transparency and accountability. So that's with the Accra Times report. Now, look at how the custodian also reported the same story. Now, it says that Paul Awuni is saying it has emerged that majority of the findings of the Operation Recover All Loot Committee are based on sheer rumors that need further investigations to merit possible prosecution. In presenting a report to President John Dramani Mahama on Monday, February 10, 2025, Chairman of the Oral Committee, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, claimed they have identified $21.19 billion in potential recoveries from looted state assets and undervalued land sales. According to him, Oral's investigations into 36 high-profile cases alone could yield up to $20.49 billion, and that prime state lands also sold at shockingly low prices led to an estimated revenue loss of $702.8 million. Ablakwa, who has just been sworn in as Ghana's Minister of Foreign Affairs, unethically publicized the unedited report on his social media outlets even before the formal presentation to President Mahama. Now, if you come down to the very end of this story, the former Deputy Attorney General also expressed concerns about the legitimacy of Oral's investigative process, arguing that a credible joint report involving state agencies should have been responsible for receiving the complaint. And so the findings of the Oral Committee lack the legal merit required for prosecution. According to him, the large volume of complaints do not amount to concrete legal evidence. And finally, the Insight newspaper said Operation Recover All Loot preparatory team on Monday expressed shock at the scale and scope of state capture and looting that took place under the administration of President Nana Akufo-Addo. Presenting his report to President John Dramani Mahama on Monday, the oral team, which quantified the loot at exceeding $20 billion, called for urgent action on the part of government. Now, speaking at the presentation of the report at the office of the President, the chairman of the committee, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, disclosed that the team received 2,417 complaints from the public. So let's try and put all of this together. Uncle Isi.
Well, I mean, first,
yes,
if they are looters, they have to be punished.
That's all.
If they are looters, you understand? I mean, that one, there can be no compromise on it.
Right.
You know? If they are looters, looters have to be dealt with according to law.
In the first place, why tell them as looters? Because looting is stealing.
Yeah, but that's what they mean.
Yeah, but how did we arrive at that nomenclature or that descriptor when the person has not been taken to court of competent jurisdiction to say you stole it, so you're a thief? No, I just something was you just whilst you're going about your submission, I just thought you should think about it.
Well, the president has said, and members of the oral team have said,
yes,
that there will be due processes followed in order to establish the innocence or guilt of persons who are of interest. So this question about how to call them and so on is completely, is not important at this stage. If due processes establish that some people have looted, then the law will prescribe how to deal with them. So that's clear.
Okay.
However, I get a little worried, about estimates of how much will be recovered and so on, because there's a certain presumption of guilt, already in those assumptions. It may well be that a competent court may throw out all of this, in which case the evaluations of how much we can recover and so on may come to nothing. Okay. So that's a sign of worry for me.
Okay.
But there are things that are commonsensical. You, MP, minister, deputy minister, president's friend, whatever. You see cantonments. And then you go and pay 42,000 cedis for a huge tract of land. You must know that something is wrong. You don't have to wait for somebody to come and tell you that what you have done is wrong. Maza, you, minister of whatever, friend of the president, even land at Abokobi is not sold for that much. Land at Gomoabra, and then you go and buy this large tract of land, and you pay 42,000 cedis for it. You know that there's something wrong with it. And I don't know why they're even allowing us to go through all these processes with Maro and so on. You yourself, go and own up, surrender the land, or offer to pay the difference and keep it. Why do you allow us to spend resources on legal processes and so on when you know, everybody knows that it is wrong?
Right.
And I must say, you don't understand what I'm saying. There are some things which are so obviously wrong. You understand? So I don't want to be making prejudicial statements now. But I think that the issues in question are very clear. I've heard people, usually from the NPP, who are saying that, but these government lands, our people bought some, but there are NDC people too who bought some. How come that the list does not include NDC people? It's a legitimate question. What is the remedy? The remedy is that if you know NDC people who also committed the same offense, submit the list. Make a complaint.
But how do we even know? But Uncle, how do we even know if there's no NDC, if there aren't any NDC persons in the list of persons?
But that's what they're saying. You know, the deputy, former deputy attorney general. And he's saying that the complaints and so on should have been sent to proper.
Yes.
You know.
There's Yoko.
Agencies and so on. Yes. Master, what are you talking about? He's a lawyer. He should know better. As we sit here tomorrow, if after this program we walk out of here, and any citizen has a case of thievery, or a case about subversion of the national interest, and he gives it to you, Moro, yes. You haven't been appointed by any president, you don't have any capacity in the Attorney General's office and so on, and you call the police and tell them that this is the information I have, can't it be investigated?
Of course it can be.
So what is the former Attorney General talking about?
But Uncle, we should also be asking ourselves that the chap who brought the documents to me, why didn't he find it expedient to go and give it to the police directly? Why give it to me? Shouldn't that raise some questions about the kind of
may well be that he doesn't have any confidence in the institution.
But that's what the problem is.
That's not the problem in this case. The former Deputy Attorney General is saying that there's a defect because persons who made the complaint did not go to establish this institution. I'm saying that there's no defect. The Constitution actually even gives citizens the power to arrest.
True.
You understand? Yes. Citizens like you and I, we even have the power to arrest. So that argument is such a bad argument that it should not be repeated anywhere. My concern is that any citizen against whom an allegation is made must be held innocent until proven guilty before a competent court. That's the maxim. You can make any allegation, every allegation against any citizen, whether it's from the NPP or the NDC, no problem. But guilt is proven in a competent court. That's the rule. And if you apply that rule, we'll be fine. Then again, we must respect the rights of citizens. And what are the rights of citizens? For example, even in criminal cases, when you go before the police, before you are charged, you are told that you have the right to remain silent. That right must be upheld. You have the right to a counsel of your own. That right must be upheld. If all of these rights are upheld, and at the end of the day, a competent court decides that, my friend, you have looted. We need to take the loot from you. Yeah. You need to bear the sanctions for looting. You understand what I'm saying? If you, let me sound tautological. If you yourself you see the allegation which has been made against you, and you know that there's merit in it, as for example, having acquired land at cantonments for 30,000 or 40,000, why? If you are sensible, if you want your peace of mind, if you want to save the state, huge expenditures, and so on and so on, you go and you say, look, yes, I recognize that what I did was not proper. Therefore, I'm offering to pay the difference between the actual price and what I paid for it.
In fact, Blackwa Sex, the chairman of the oral committee, says some of them have called.
It gives you the peace of mind. Master, it gives you the peace of mind. It saves the state from this useless expenditure of time and resources and so on. And you can have your land.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if, and I get very angry at some of the practices, Master, you see, even the colonialists, when they built what then was the senior officer, the white-only hospital, Ridge Hospital, and so on, were sensible enough to appreciate that they needed medical personnel around the hospital for emergencies and so on. So, medical personnel were deliberately put around the hospital, even the colonialists. After independence, after so many years, governments came and decided to sell the properties which were housing medical personnel, give them to businessmen to construct all kinds of funny buildings and so on, and push the doctors out, to the extent that some of the doctors are staying in Kasua and so on. So when there's an emergency, imagine a doctor coming from Kasua to an emergency. So some of these things don't make sense at all. You remember this doctor, this professor of medicine, who handled the conjoined twins, the twins who were joined at the head, Professor Kaba. He and his wife, who was a senior personnel, also at the Ridge Hospital, were living in Laboni. They were given 2 weeks to pack out of their house because the house had been sold. So this doctor, so critical for our health service and so on, had to move within 2 weeks to Pokwasi. So if there's a huge national emergency and so on, you're going to move him from Pokwasi to Ridge Hospital. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
These are criminal acts. You understand? That we should not condone. Now, if you become somebody, and I don't want to use the titles because it may be too leading, you understand? And then, in a twinkle of an eye, in an 8-year period or 4-year period, you or your relatives take possession of a number of government bungalows in Laboni and pull them down, and you build monstrous structures there. Are we supposed to be applauding you? The same principle which goes for the hospitals also goes for the civil service. The earlier government had the wisdom to position civil servants in key positions so that government can be run, over a certain time and so on. And that's why civil servants were placed in places like Laboni, airport residential area, cantonments, and so on. They've sacked the civil servants. You understand? And giving them to their friends and relatives and so on. And these civil servants are living in Sawam. Imagine coming to work to Accra in Osu Ministries from Sawam and going back after 5 p.m. every day. But these are criminal acts. Quite apart from the fact that the lands were sold very cheaply. And against existing protocols about land and so on. It just made government business so burdensome. You understand? One of the newly appointed ministers went before vetting. I hope all of you will remember And he was asked about allocation of government lands. He said, oh, anytime we worked on the lands commission, lands committee, we were offered land to show appreciation for the work that we have done. Member of Parliament, taking your salary as a member of Parliament. You work on lands committee and they show appreciation by giving you government lands. So please, I think we should take this oral business seriously and point out the need to respect the law and to respect citizens' rights, but not just throw it away or poo-poo it, and so on. Yeah. Because there is some merit. And we should separate, as they say, the wheat from the chaff.
Right.
Because there's a lot of wheat in there.
Yeah. Honest. When you look at some of the cases that have been brought before oral, some of them are already known cases. National Cathedral, the banking sector issue with some amount of money that were printed by the Bank of Ghana and giving out, and quite a number of them, There are let me say there are the conflicting opinions. That some will say, look, these are the cases that we already know, so why admit them? But then the oral committee is also saying that, look, as for us, we don't determine for people what they should bring to us or not. Our parameters for determining the admissibility of a case is whether there is something in there. And that's why they say theirs is information gathering or evidence gathering and validation. So if there's something in there...
No, they don't do validation.
No, that's what they said. They said they don't do validation.
Validate.
What they don't do, they don't
investigate. They cannot do validation.
Why can't they?
Validation is done at the point of the court.
Really?
If you validated the claims and so on, you found people guilty already.
Yeah, but Uncle, if they don't also do that, they will just collect any chaff and put it out there.
That is why the president handed over the brief, the report, to the Attorney General to study, to separate the chaff from the wheat. Then Attorney General, having done that, may proceed to court where evidence will be tested, validated. That's where the process of validation will take place.
Interesting.
Yes.
Because they said it time and again. I mean, otherwise, they can't do what they call a case review.
Sometimes all of us suffer from that problem.
From that problem, okay.
And that problem is a problem of language.
Right.
Nobody speaks perfect English or perfect Tree.
Okay. So they should stop saying validation. Collect the information and just pass it on.
Validation is done by the courts.
By the courts. Okay. All right. Collins.
Please, can you please read the headline of the insight?
Oh, the insight.
Where they said...
Well, it's the extent of loot. And the Akufo-Addo shocking.
The Akufo-Addo?
Yes. Oral team speaks on 20 billion corruption recoveries.
The headline is the extent of loot.
Of loot.
And the Akufo-Addo.
Yes.
And this is a direct quote from the oral team.
Yes.
The extent of loot under Akufo-Addo. Under Akufo-Addo. That tells you the focus of the oral team. That's one. This is a quote from the oral team. The extent of loot under Akufo-Addo. And then they estimate it to be $20.49 billion. They have not even separated the chaff, as Uncle is talking about. How do they come about that figure? Well, please take your time.
I know it's a rhetorical question.
They say the extent of loot.
That's their estimate.
Thank you, Uncle.
That's their estimate.
I'm coming.
They are allowed to
How
make
do
estimates.
the chaff has not even been separated.
That's true.
But for them, the extent of loot under Akufo-Addo, that should tell you the focus of oral. Under Akufo-Addo. So oral was specific for Akufo-Addo's tenure. Very specific. And this is not a quote from the paper. This is a quote from the oral team itself. So we all know the parameters within which oral is working. Very political.
You can change the parameters.
You
can change the parameters.
I will not change the parameters.
Oh my God.
They themselves are saying...
It's so easy to change the parameters.
How am I going to change
Why?
it?
If you know of NDC people who have done similar things, send the evidence to oral.
Interestingly, all the evidence that they gathered was under Akufo-Addo.
Have you read the full report?
That's the heading.
So his analysis is based on the headline. He's not even got into the substance of the report. I'm not sure you've seen the report yet.
The extent of loot under Akufo-Addo, for me, is very telling. It tells you the focus of aura. And so Uncle makes a very interesting point, that we should give people an opportunity to defend themselves. Go to Okudjeto's Blackwest Facebook page. I've been looking at it now. Except of the oral thing that you have been doing, mentioning people's names directly on his Facebook page, even before the people are given an opportunity to explain themselves. In the minds of Ghanaians, these are criminals. Now listen to the words they use. The extent of loot. So already they are clear in their mind. They are clear in their mind that these are thieves under Akufo-Addo. That is loot. Even before the Attorney General peruse the document and decide which of them he's going to prosecute, even before that, they have described the members of Akufo-Addo's government as looters.
Some members. Be fair, some members.
Okay, some members.
Yes.
Even before giving them an opportunity. Before giving those people an opportunity to explain themselves, you've called them looters. And yesterday, I listened to Dom Levo on City. He says the work they've done, and that's what Uncle was talking to you about validation. Dom Levo confirmed that there's a lot of audits that has to be done.
Yes.
My brother, even if you have not even done audits, all you did as a committee was to sit and collect complaints, but you are so bold to describe the complaints you've received that these are looters under Akufo-Addo, and you're telling me this is not political. This is a pure political committee that has been set up for a purpose. Because even their own utterances is giving them out. Their own utterances. Me, I will support any mechanism to take out corruption, but not this. Not this biased, one-faced approach to corruption. That's not how it is done. If you do this and you create this heading, you give us, the Ghanaian people, and those of us from the MPP fraternity, that this is what you intend to do. Exactly this is what you intend to do. And that's what they've done. You're already calling them looters, specific to Akufo-Addo's government, calling them looters, even before an audit is done on the document that you have received.
Collins, let me ask you this. Sorry.
I'm listening.
Let me make a comment. Collins, I've never seen you worked up like this before.
No,
I mean, this morning.
I'm not worked up. I'm not worked up.
No, it's the use of the word.
I've never seen you like this
before.
No,
I'm not worked up.
Why? What is happening?
Collins, I want to ask this. If what you're saying about Bacho.
You're not the one saying it too.
No. You're making an argument.
I'm not the one saying it.
You're making an argument.
I've not brought up any new thing.
No, you get
all I'm talking about are statements from members of the oral
I get it. No, that's true.
Yes, and quote from the oral team.
I'm just saying that if what you have said is anything to go by, which is that
this
whole oral exercise is targeted at the erstwhile Akufo-Addo government.
Yes.
Okay, I'm saying that. Is it wrong?
I've not said it's wrong.
So
I'm just saying that it is political.
Okay.
For me as a politician.
From where you sit.
Absolutely. If their space, why they want to watch, it's Akufo-Addo's government, that's fine. So now we know the intent of ORA.
But there's a problem here. There's a problem here.
Okay, so let him learn so that he doesn't lose.
Problem here.
Yes, so that he doesn't lose his train of thought.
A very important point about people's reputation. People's reputation. Now you are now going to do the audit. You've put there 20 billion. You are now going to do audit. You've mentioned people's name on your Facebook page. And I was going through his Facebook page. The judge didn't sit in their office to receive complaints. At a point in time, they were moving with the BNI. Go to his page, visiting sites. Visiting people's sites in their absence. Taking pictures in their absence. You've already judged the people. Reputation. What if after the Attorney General has perused, he finds out that all these things that you are talking about, no merit. You cannot even prosecute on the basis of that. What has happened? You've tarnished people's image. Others will only look at your Facebook page Others may not know the outcome. That is my problem. Let it be fair. Let it be fair. If your mandate was just to receive information, you don't go ahead and claim that the extent of loot under Akufo-Addo is $20.something billion. And you are both even use the word loot. Are you the court? Are you the one to decide whether somebody is a thief? It's all right the committee to decide whether somebody is a thief. I'm asking you, are they the ones to decide whether somebody is a thief or not?
It's not a court, so
why? So already you have already said extent of loot shocking under Akufo-Addo. So what have you done? In the minds of Ghanaians, you've put out this figure. Hey, Akufo-Addo and his appointees, they've stolen $20.something billion. That's what you've done. And is that fair? Is that fair?
Yeah.
I will support any institution that is brought about to take care of corruption. But let's do it fairly.
Okay.
Masa, yes, I mean, I think that to some extent you're right that the focus appears to be on the Akufo-Addo administration and Akufo-Addo appointees. But whether that is right or not depends on whether there are such cases against NDC people.
Yes, I asked that question.
If there are no such cases against NDC people, and the only cases that are available are against NPP people, then the focus ought to be on the NPP. You understand? So the way to change that situation is that if you have cases involving NDC, bigwigs, and so on, make that available to the committee. That is the only way of securing a balance. Because if there are no cases against NDC people, you cannot secure a balance, mechanically. That because an NPP person has been accused of state capture, we must necessarily find an NDC person and accuse that person of state capture, even if there's no evidence, even if there's no suspicion. You understand? So that's the headache you have. It is all right to claim that now the focus is on the NPP and the Akufo-Addo administration and so on. Perfect claim, no problem with that. Why should the focus be on the NDC? You haven't indicated why the focus should also be on the NDC. And if there is evidence that the focus should be on the NDC, all of us will support it.
Uncle, see, you just said that an appointee, a ministerial appointee, on national television, claimed that he was giving state land.
He said he didn't take it. He said he didn't take it. That ministerial appointee, go and check.
Yeah.
Did he say that he took it? I mean, we are talking about Rashid Purple.
Yes, he mentioned it.
He said that, look, he sat on the lands committee and that he knew that as a reward for sitting on the lands committee, state lands were offered, but he hasn't taken advantage of it. That's what he said.
Yes.
Am I
right? Collins, even if the statement you're attributing to whoever said it, because we didn't read the story in detail, but let's even assume without admitting that a member of the committee could be the chairman or any of the members, has even said that you look at the screaming headline, the extent of loot and the Akufo-Addo shocking. I don't think that in itself necessarily suggests, I don't think that in itself necessarily suggests that there went some report of some wrong things that were done under the NDC government. Yeah, but that's a different question.
There are allegations. Yes. As at now.
Yes, that's a different question.
Masa, as at now, there are only allegations.
Yeah.
Nobody has been convicted. Even the Attorney General, who has the power to prosecute, has not satisfied himself that all of these cases or some of these cases can be prosecuted in court. That's where we are.
True.
All we have now are allegations, a compilation of allegations against people who were in government. That's all we have. And I think we should be clear on that.
But is this headline from this quote fair?
Yeah, but
the extent of loot.
Yeah, but I'm saying that.
I'm coming. The extent of loot and the Akufo-Addo is $20.something billion. Yes. That is the categorical statement.
Yeah, but I'm saying that it doesn't also mean that there went some wrongdoing.
And I'm saying
because
it is unfair to.
In some cases, in some cases, I think it would be fair to refer to loot and looters in some cases. Let me explain. You see, Massa, are you listening?
I'm listening.
Okay. Where you have the Auditor General's report, and the Auditor General's report is an official document. The Auditor General's report is a report which has been prepared based on empirical examination of evidence and so on. So where the Auditor General reports make certain allegations of thievery and so on, one can comfortably come to the conclusion that something is amiss.
But Uncle, even the Auditor General's report, when the Auditor General brings his report to Parliament, it is referred to a committee, and in some instances,
the Finance Committee,
the public accounts, in some instances, when the people who have been mentioned in the report are brought to the table, we realize that some of the things that the Auditor General said is not as the reality.
It changes.
It changes.
Master, you're right.
Yes.
Yeah,
but also, there are cases which have been determined by courts, which have been overturned by superior courts. So as of that, please, it's not solid enough argument.
No, I get your point, but I'm saying that if you hold the Auditor General's report, just the Auditor General's report, who is reporting to the Parliament for further scrutiny, if you use just that as a basis to describe somebody as a looter,
you find that
for me is where the problem.
I'm saying that it is safer to use the Auditor General's report than to use any complaint. That's what I'm saying.
Because, of course, it would have gone through a certain audit process.
Because there's a certain hierarchy. That's the point
I get you.
That's the point I'm
making. I get you.
There's a certain hierarchy.
Yes, but in an instance like the oral committee, where the auditor, the one sitting on the committee, the former Auditor General, is even saying that the document they have received, they have to do an audit on it. Yes. I'm saying it is unfair.
Some of the documents.
Yeah, I'm saying, but
some of the documents that they relied on in preparing their reports are also audit reports.
Yes, I get you, but I'm saying it's unfair to just rely on somebody's complaints. So if I go to oral and I say, oh, I know of former minister this who has bought this house. This is a report. That's what the oral committee does. It is receiving a report. You have not spoken to that minister. An opportunity has not been given to that minister to explain his side of the story. If you lump all those figures together and come to a conclusion that 20-point-something billion, and then reference Akufo-Addo as a heading and say the loot under Akufo-Addo, I'm saying you're not being fair to Akufo-Addo and his people, because you're not even giving them the opportunity to even speak to the matter.
But
Honorable, no problem with this submission of yours. But then I think you have to look at our political space and the fact that in this political space, the element of unfairness is so very high. Remember how you campaigned to come to power. I don't mean you, your political party campaigned to come to power. Remember the references to the current president. I don't want to repeat some of them, but you remember the allegations which were made against him. He was deliberately painted as a criminal, a corrupt figure, and so on. So it is not a problem of the NBC. It's a problem of the actors in the political space and their lack of respect for empirical evidence. And it's both ways, both sides, all of you. You understand? What didn't you say about John Mahama? What didn't you say even about Lordina Mahama? I recall that she was said to have been the owner of this microfinance scam which occurred in the Boafo region. No evidence, no basis. And here she was called names. So you have a right to complain. You should complain if you feel, that you or your group are being treated unfairly. You have every right to complain. But as they say in Akan, who of one son,
Anyway, I don't know whether we have enough time. We have just about 5 minutes to end the program. I wanted us to look at the USAID matter, but I'm sure that it's a conversation that will continue this week. So we may not be able to comprehensively and
I don't envy at all.
Look at this. Sorry?
I don't envy at all.
I know.
No, I don't.
I know. It's
I mean, this the economy.
Yeah.
At this stage.
Yeah.
When they get the budget, your revenue, expenditure, most of the time the expenditures outweigh.
Yeah.
The
revenue.
The revenues.
Yeah.
And now you are being told that
you're going to lose
some of the revenues where you get this support in terms of grants, aids, are also being curtailed.
Yeah.
He has to find a way, as the president has directed, to plug in that hole. How do you do so?
Yeah.
Especially when governments don't work on their own. You have to get taxes for people to pay. Either you put in efficient tax system to get more people paying into the tax nets, or you get new tax handles, especially when you have also promised to take out some tax handles.
COVID, betting, and
absolutely. That is also creating another hole of almost 90-something billion.
Yeah.
So, as I said, I don't envy
put all of
all.
that together, 540.
Yeah, I don't envy at all. But let's see how
there is no doubt at all that our tax system needs to be rationalized. Okay. So I don't just look at taking things out, like e-levy and so on. I think about a whole system of rationalization, which itself may bring in more revenue than we had before.
It even give an opportunity for more people to even pay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it is possible to cancel e-levy. It is possible to cancel boiler tax and all of those nuisance taxes and still raise revenue. But you have to do it within the context of a complete rationalization, of the tax system. My worry, and it's my deepest worry, is the announcement by the Minister of Finance that they have actually asked the IMF to come and assist them draw up a budget. It's worrying, very deeply worrying.
Once you're under the program.
Exactly, I was going to come there.
Once you're under the program.
In fact, the guys are in town.
Yes. And it's because we are under the program.
Yeah.
I don't think that we should be under the program, but we are under the program. Now that should mean that the ideological and political framework remains the same.
It's not even that way. And the way the IMF guys talk.
The ideological and political framework
they always will tell you about your revenue percentage as a tax revenue. So most of their suggestions are for you to raise.
They don't care about your social costs.
It's actually anti-growth.
And then lastly, all of us are making so much noise about this Trump decision, to take away the U.S. aid and so on. What is this U.S. aid? It's an instrument of U.S. foreign policy.
Yes.
It's an instrument of U.S. foreign policy.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to be a lapdog of the U.S., why do you
win yourself off?
It's withdrawn?
Win yourself off.
If you want to continue to follow instructions from Washington all the time,
keep taking money from them.
Let's become slaves to U.S. aid. You understand? If you want to continue keeping the U.S. military base in Ghana, you become a slave to U.S. aid.
It's just a wake-up
call.
So
the parameters are clear.
It's a wake-up call. Good morning, Moro. According to our jurisprudence, if you catch a thief or a murderer in the act, you don't call them so on to prove it. It does not efface the fact that they were stealing. You can only be blind and perhaps deaf not to notice crime when you see one. Even though I agree with Honorable Adumako on the bit about naming, when the court has not said so, the impression should not be created as if oral team does not understand what they're doing. Time will tell. Soon, the pregnancy will break and the baby will be born. Let's give, and everything will crystallize soon. Prosper Ashikwe sends that message. Now, Papa Bisius also sends a message. Says, I'm just surprised hearing Adumako saying oral is just a witch hunt political opponents. Is he happy accounting for $12 million, Palugu Dam $2 million, SkyTrain $12 million, Japadia for $3 million, Odor Drain, etc., whilst majority of Ghanaians are suffering, not able to even afford a daily meal over millions of dollars found in past ministers' bedrooms? Okay, so Papa BC, I didn't quite get that message. But anyway, so I want to thank our audience, as usual, our viewers, for staying with us throughout the morning. Please keep your dial here. This is Metro Television. We have the best programs for you. My name is Aldo Moro. Big thanks to Uncle Kwesi, as we affectionately call him, Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr., who's the managing editor of the Inside newspaper. Thank you so very much for your time, sir. So it's a pleasure seeing you on Wednesday. And also the MP for Efija Kwabre North, that's Collins Adomako Mensah, also a former Deputy Minister. Thank you so very much, Collins. Thank you so much. And big thanks to the production team led by Annie Efua Ampofo. Thanks for watching another edition of Good Morning Ghana. Same time, hopefully, inshallah, would have been alive and kicking tomorrow, Thursday. We'll be back with another edition. Have a good day. Bye-bye.